So very pretentiously, I've been asked to think about what homework could be for Adelaide and South Australians in the interstitial while I'm back in Canada. And because I've been given this opportunity, I've got a couple of ideas. And like any good homework giver, I have it written down in notes. So one of the things we've started to do is map the ecosystem. So let's follow up with that. Let's figure out where the gaps are. Let's figure out where the opportunities are, who's doing what really well, and where it's missing. I think we need to develop the business case for participation in the social economy. How do we clearly show that for all those different constituencies, it's in their best interest to figure out how to participate with others, to do good, to make an impact, and to make money? In South Australia, we have an amazing history of innovations. They're too numerous to count. But what often happens is, and often it's tied to political cycles, they get lost, they go away. So what we need to do is think about how we deepen the trough. How do we stop those innovations from snapping back when political parties change? What's our opportunity to better entrench what we know works and keep them going? For example, common ground and what we're doing around homelessness. Adelaide was leading the country in reducing homelessness, and now things are changing a little bit. Let's not let that happen. We need a real intentionality around how we keep what we know works and how we keep doing that better regardless of who's in government, regardless of the changing political whims. We need to celebrate success. I think that there's an opportunity for solutions journalism. We have amazing journalists here. Why don't we look at celebrating the story like what's happening in Holden instead of just reporting on the tremendous job losses? There's an opportunity for us to talk about solutions here, and I would love to see that embraced by that sector. Within government, we can look at social value procurement. Some great history, some opportunities with Aboriginal populations, and that's terrific. But there's so much work happening in this space around the globe. In the UK, Canada's just released a report on what works in measurement and evaluation of social procurement. We have a lot to learn, and there are many more opportunities given how influential government is, particularly at the state level. We have an opportunity to create a better and enabling regulatory environment for nonprofits to both generate income instead of just relying on grants, and to think about how they can make themselves ready for impact investing. Right now, there are some regulatory barriers. We need to explore those, and we need to determine how we can make this environment ready for those who are willing to embrace it. We need to look at our corporates and getting them engaged in addition to writing a check. So we need corporates to write a check. That's what they do to support the social economy. But the pro bono talent that exists within those organizations needs to be unlocked and unleashed. They can find win-win strategies, and I can promise them by doing pro bono work and getting exposed to nonprofits, they will increase their own innovation capacity, and there's huge opportunities for excitement and innovation to happen for both sectors. I would love to see us better explore and support the B Corp movement. And so I'm hoping that by the end of this residency, there'll be significantly more B Corps than we have right now. I want to see more opportunities for TAXI, the Australian Centre for Social Innovation. What they're bringing to this space is new ways of thinking and getting beyond workshops, really thinking differently at the systems level for where we can have phenomenal impact. And if their business increases, we will have been doing good. I would like to see the NDIS articulate feedback loops in the system. So how are they actively going out and getting feedback on what's working and what's not working? And where is their ability within the system to absorb that feedback and do different? This has got to be a pivot. It can't be we got it right the first time out and we're sticking to it no matter what. We need to know what works, what doesn't work, and that we're willing to amend it with feedback from the end user and the community. That's critical, and we need a communication system for that. I would say that we need to figure out what are the skills that we need for 21st century leadership. These are things like influencing skills, design thinking, cross-sectoral collaboration, and working at the level of the system. So I would love to see us launch some kind of youth impact academy that creates these young leaders. It can be inside academia or out, it doesn't matter, but I'd love to see us doing that. Instead of the specialist looking down, we want the generalist looking up, out, and across. I would love to see new financial instruments. So how do we embrace social finance that enables us to think differently about how we can use money to do good better? I have a really lovely term that's kind of silly, but so am I, called a groan, which is a combination grant and a loan. So you give nonprofit a grant for what they can't generate income on, and you give them a loan for what they can. And it puts a new level of discipline and rigor into the sector that gets us to think differently about how we can make impact and have our own sustainability. Because at the end of the day, government grants are expensive and are tied to a very specific area. Your own generated income, your undesignated funding, is where the innovation can flourish. And you can do what's needed by those on the ground, those that really need it. Metrics. We have a lot of metrics coming out of government, 10+1 economic metrics, 7 strategic metrics. Brilliant. Let's keep folks accountable. Let's manage those. But what are the metrics coming from the community? What are our vital signs? What do we want to work on? And how can we engage government in that? So in both top-down and bottom-up fashion, we'll get to a place that feels right for us and for us that are working at the coalface of some of the most challenging issues. And I would say there's this huge opportunity, and I would really love to see some work done on the Royal Adelaide Hospital site that has the input of people, that there's a real movement around what they want that site to be, that it embraces culture, that it embraces an economic model, and that it embraces a social impact model. Can the Royal Adelaide Hospital be our place to think? Can it really be a place that was focused on healing the ill to creating a whole new level of social impact, wellness, resilience? Is that what it can turn itself into? I would hope so. So any kind of movement on that would be incredibly encouraging. And if there were just a few cross-sectoral tables that happened in the interim, then that would also make me feel like some of this work is being heard and that there's huge opportunities because people are not only willing to listen, but to do differently. So that's an awful lot of homework. But I think that there's real opportunities to do even one of them and advance this work. And I'm hoping people will think about that and do what's right for them.